Hello, and thank you for joining us for this Beyond the Classroom session from the NSF Center for Sustainable Polymers. My name is Laura Seifert, and I am the Managing Director of the Center. Today's session is presented by Debbie Appleton, a Materials Recovery Manager from DSM-Niaga. Debbie joined us to tell us about DSM-Niaga's approach to product design for a circular economy. Our practice in Beyond the Classroom is to record these sessions for future review, but we did not hit record at the beginning of Debbie's session. So as a result, these first few slides will not have any audio, and we will join Debbie a few minutes into the start of her session. And we'll now join Debbie.
How do we fix this? I'm personally a firm believer that if we manage to get ourselves into this situation, we for sure also can manage to get ourselves out of this situation. And the solution that is needed actually comes from two sides. So on the one hand, we need solutions to tackle the waste issue of all the products that are already in our system, so that were never actually really designed to be recycled, but they're there and we need to take stewardship over them. And on the other hand, you want to make sure that every new product that goes into our society is designed for recycling and is non-toxic. And the latter is exactly what Niaga focuses on, to make sure that what we do right now is done from that principle. It means that there's actually two solutions, or the solution comes in two parts. The first is the redesign of the products themselves, and the second is the redesign of the system. When we look at redesigning products, we have a super easy product design philosophy, which consists of three elements. One is keep it simple. If the performance can be met with just one material, do that. Don't mix materials because it's cheaper. Don't mix materials because then the performance might be slightly easier than when just one material is engineered. There is a lot that can be done with just mono materials. The other one is clean materials only, which means that with all the knowledge that we have, make sure that the materials chosen are non-toxic and have a negative or neutral impact on both human and environmental health. And this comes with the knowledge that we know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. So be sure to always create transparency about the ingredients, because we might learn new things tomorrow. And then the third one is if it can't be met, if the performance can't be met with just one material and another material is needed, then make sure that the connection can be reversible. And at Niaga, we love two types of polymers, polyester and polyamide 6, because they can be intrinsically recyclable or perpetual. Because of the molecular structure, where if you look at a lot of other polymers, they have some form of degradation when you recycle them and reuse them again. And we found that the wondrous world of polyester and polyamide 6 actually makes them applicable for a lot of different performance needs. And the second one, of course, is the design of the systems. This beautiful product that was designed for recycling doesn't mean that it doesn't get thrown away and ends up in the wrong infrastructure, regular waste infrastructure. The system is needed to make sure that the product ends up on the place where we want it to end up. And there's a couple of things here that help guide the design of both the product. One is thinking in 7 product generations. So if the product comes back and is recycled into new product, a similar or equal or completely different application, again and again and again, that is where different materials are distinguished, and that's why we love polyester and polyamide 6, because they actually have that capability to be reused again and again. It also means that you think about how does the product get back and what needs to be in place to get it back, and what information needs to be transmitted throughout the chain for the next person to process it. Another principle here is this: one size does not fit all. Everybody's always looking for the holy grail on recovery and on sustainability, and then the one solution might be the solution for everything the next day. But just like every ecosystem flourishes with diversity, also here we need diversity. So sometimes products can just be refurbished first before they are reused. Other products just need to be dismantled and go straight into the material streams. What we see in our platform is that some producers really prefer to get the product back themselves, their product, not their competitor's product, because they know exactly what's inside it, they know exactly how to recycle it, and they have agreements within their supply chain to reintegrate it. We also see that other partners on our platform just prefer to have like a product coalition. So for example, all the mono pet carpets prefer to unite because they need the volumes to process it. And that's why sometimes different type of business models also help to stimulate the return flows. And just to illustrate them, if we look at a closed loop system, this always consists of 3 different elements. So we have the collection of the product, we have the recycling, and then the new application. And there can be some variety. So if we look at the collection, we, for example, have one partner who prefers to take back all the mattresses themselves because the whole business case is based on the fact that they can refurbish and reuse some of the components after a hygienic deep clean and recycle others. A second option could be the segment recycling hub. For example, a couple of the mono pets carpet producers unite to combine the volumes. Or in some places, a regular recycling infrastructure also works best, just like we know right now for glass or for paper or for PET bottles. And the recycling, you pretty much need any recycling infrastructure that is in place. In general, there's a distinction between mechanical routes and chemical routes. Our rule of thumb is that when it comes to post-industrial streams, you can definitely use whatever mechanical route is available in the region. So that can be either preparing the product to material stream and then using the extrusion granulation route, or using a fiberization route and then going to, for example, staple yarn or other type of fibers, or the whole dismantling and reusing parts of the products. But we also see is that a type of depolymerization, decolor and purify and repolarizer might be needed as part of the infrastructure, especially for the post-consumer routes, to make sure that it's a fit for purpose new application, just like it was in the beginning. And the new application links closely to the chosen recycling process, because what we see is that, especially when we're in the beginning of a whole tipping point in a segment where recycling is not yet the new normal, what we see, for example, with furniture panels or carpet or metal, you want every partner to have some skin in the game and also reapply those materials to create that tipping point in which recycling becomes the new normal. So there's a choice between integrating it back into the same value, which would be a closed loop, or in a different value chain. And the interesting thing is that 2 out of the 3 segments that we are active in are textile segments, and we see the fusing and the cross-polarizing there, which is, well, it's like an open loop, so a carpet can become a mattress and vice versa. One key element here is transparency. And the interesting thing is that Niaga originated from the objective for recyclable products. And our second pillar is healthy materials or non-toxicity, which was actually, we found that one quite soon after we started designing for recyclable products, because you don't want any nasties in the product because they will come back every loop again and again. So you want to prevent any type of perpetual toxic cycle. So that's why recyclable and non-toxic actually links close together. And then we also found that for that, you need transparency of ingredients. And that's not just transparency of what the provenance of the ingredients is, but that's just like we know it from, for example, for food labels, is that you want full transparency in what the components are, because that will guide the next party into how do we clean it, how do we dismantle it, but mostly how do we recycle it. So the way we've worked with our platform and what we're doing with our partners right now is to make sure that there's a type of discernible marking on the product. Sometimes that's a tag, sometimes that's a printing, with an active or a passive communication link to an online landing page. So that can be a QR code or an RFID chip or NFC chip. which you can easily scan. And from our platform and with our partners, we've been really particular about this needs to be open source, accessible, well, not necessarily open source, but accessible to everybody without a subscription model, but just with the use of a phone, nothing fancy. You can just scan it and then you directly end up on the landing page in which you get all the information. This we refer to as the first line of communication, which is smart and easy, super insightful for any level. So you could explain this to your child or your grandmother. So for example, for the mattresses, it will say this mattress consists of 2 materials, steel for the springs and polyester for everything else. And then it will give an indication on how to recycle it. Like it's a recovery manual. So for example, if you're done enjoying this mattress, this is the return button, and then we will come and collect it. And this can slightly differ per product and per region. And then it also links directly to the product passport after the what's in it, which is the first easy line of communication. You will find a full product passport with all the more professional insights, which pretty sure is anything that you would want to know, knowing that polyester is a more generic name. And then the product passport actually has a full overview on PET, the additives, etc., which has been quite some work in the last couple of years to actually get that in place, because what we found is that in the materials cluster, it's a lot of parties find it very scary to be so open, whereas in the food cluster, we're already very familiar with it, or we found that a lot of that information is not really known or it's not really being transferred. So it's really building the new normal by creating that transparency. I'll explain the 3 segments that we are active in. It all started on the right side with carpets and rugs. So what we found there is that with all the knowledge that we knew from the professionals on design and recycling, we designed a couple of formats for a mono PET carpet. So the face fiber and the cloth and the backing are all made out of PET. With a polyester adhesive, which is enabled to recycle as well. And the interesting thing is that Mohawk, one of the biggest cup producers in the US, already launched this product a couple of years ago under the name of Aero. And interestingly enough, they don't brand it as being recyclable, but really as being healthy and hypoallergenic, because there's no latex glue or any other nasties in it. It's a very breathable carpet. It's very healthy in the environment. From there, we also found that in the carpet segment, there's a strong desire for a more resilient top layer or for a more natural top layer. So we also created the Duo concept, which then has a PET backing, and the face fibers are made out of either nylon or wool. And then the adhesive enables unclicking of the 2 layers after use. From there, we moved to mattresses, because one of the European mattress producers asked us the question that makes any of my colleagues happy, and it's how do we design, or what does a mattress look like that's non-toxic and fully recyclable? And this has been a super great cooperation between our company and between Alping, because they know everything about sleep and our teams know everything about materials, and started redesigning everything to meet the specs of the performance, but to also make sure it's one material. So everything in there, apart from the springs, is polyester, and then in different applications, different form, different shapes. And the products have been launched last year, and this year there's new products coming up. And the interesting thing about this case is that they really work on closed loop, so they really want it back and reintegrate it in their own supply chain, and they're building those cases with the suppliers right now. And first proof points of the new components after the first cycle have hit the market as well. And the newest addition is furniture panels. So pretty much anything that most of desktops are made of, or cabinets, which a lot of the times contains formaldehyde or other nasties, and it's linked with a glue, making it very unrecyclable at the end of life. And we figured that this can be made with cellulosic waste streams, so any type of paper, wood chips, anything that's cellulosic and the same adhesive, polyester adhesive, to bind it in layers and then have one top coating. And the interesting thing is that time and time again, we see that the sweet spot of design is achieved as soon as you see that there's all these additional bonuses. So for example, with the carpet, we see that because it's a different design and different adhesive, it's very lightweight. So the feedback that we get from the market is that installers love it because it's easy to carry. They don't need two people to carry one roll. It doesn't damage the walls when they install it, and it's easy to clean because it's very breathable. The same feedback we get from the mattress producers and their customers is that the duration, the life expectancy of the components turns out to be longer because there's no additional materials mixed in it. It's very pure. They also get the feedback that it's very airable. So it's a very breathy, healthy mattress. And the feedback that we get from the partners working with the panels is that they love the fact that the top layer can be easily unclicked, allowing for refurbishing of the panels. So you don't have to recycle the whole product. You can just, if you have this beautiful furniture, and the trend color this year is red, and next year you would like it more wood color, you can just unclick the top layer and then install a new layer in there. Some insights on the carpet technology for who would like to look more into it. So on the left, you see traditional carpet with a lot of different components, and then everything's bound together with latex. Whereas the mono concept is PET, and the duo concept can have a different type of wool or face fiber. The way this was designed is it's actually quite easy, as you always see with most of the innovations turn out to be quite easy. We found that in the first step is a fiber binder in which the yarns and the tufted cloth are actually fused together by heat instead of by adhesive or latex. And from there, the adhesive layer is added, and the secondary backing, it's also referred to as the underpad, is then added, and then the finished product is produced. And my main message is to just designing out waste. I hope I caught up a little bit with the time.